looking specifically at Bitcoin and Ethereum, you were saying to me off air, well, there's not too much to talk about. And I agree. There hasn't been any drastic price moves, but just last week, this is how quick the news just goes away, obviously, in crypto. We had a horrible jobs report yet again, another one under the Trump presidency that, it's like, are the numbers real or are the numbers not real? Either way, the report was horrible. The market reaction was immediately kind of somber one, but Bitcoin and Ethereum have held up really well. Bitcoin was down to 109K. It continued to close above that on the daily. Today, it's pumped. We've got Bitcoin on the verge of 114K right now. Ethereum's followed along. It was over 4,400 earlier today. There was a real shot over this last week for these numbers to tank in the short term. I mean, there were people calling for the 98K support level, break down into the low 100Ks for BTC. None of that has happened. We still have a week until the rate cuts. And you and I have been sharing the perspective for 3 weeks or so now that we thought that we would pump kind of in earnest going into the rate cuts because the news is already priced in. Like we pretty much know it's happening. I mean, at this point, the question isn't, are they cutting? Is it 25 or 50 basis points? And it'll probably be 25, but I mean, everybody assumes that's what's happening at this point. And then maybe we get a bit of a sell-off after the fact because, again, everyone already knows this is coming. So I've been saying that we could see ETH over $5,500 by the time we get the rate cuts. I'm still not going to walk that back, even though we're only a week away. I mean, this could be right now the beginning of that pump. I could be totally wrong. No point really trying to predict that short of term stuff, but I think we continue this bullish trajectory. So what do you make of this price action?
Yeah, it's just a lot of sideways. And again, we say this in the times of consolidation, sideways to slight up movement means that there are people buying and the sellers are somewhat exhausted. So, I mean, that's what I'm seeing with Bitcoin here. We have between the 50 and the 200 moving averages, it's tapping on the 50, which means if it breaks through that, it starts to kind of run. So that is something to look out for. Now, will it pull back? Once the 50 moving average kind of turns upward to keep pace with the price, it does usually kind of tap back down. But to get across that, right now it's sitting in between the two. It's always whenever it kind of goes through it, it goes through it hard. Like back here in April when it broke through, it went hard. And, again, here it kind of touched it and then went hard. So same thing when it breaks through that moving average. And then you look at Ethereum's price and, we've been riding this long-term trend line and it is slowly, running with it as well. These are very just, consolidation candles here looking very, very bullish. So again, I can see this pulling away very quickly. We talk about this candle back here in, I guess it was May, where it literally ran over $1,000 in 2 days. So it doesn't take much for something to, when it gets spring loaded like that, to kind of release. And it could, you're very right. We could still be over 5,000, probably close to 6,000 in a week's time. Now, I'm not predicting that. I don't think that's going to happen because, you can't say things like that. But it's a possibility. And I do think people will front run the rate lowering. Now, the question becomes something that you brought up there. Is it going to be 25 points or is it going to be 50? I think if it's 25, I think that is priced in. I think if it's 50, that adds to the reaction. I really do. And I think there's a good chance of 50 points happening. I really do. I think they have to make a change. The jobs report has been terrible. Powell has been so against doing this, but I don't think he has a choice. And have you looked at the odds lately? There's that webpage that tells you.
I'm a little late, but as of a couple days ago, it was only about 10 to 15% likelihood for 50 basis points.
Okay.
But also what you just reminded me of as you were talking, and I don't know the whole story on this. I don't know if this is a Republican talking line. You can never get any real news out there, but there's been all this data that apparently there are all these fudge numbers at the end of the Biden administration,
Yeah.
in terms of jobs numbers that people are stating that proves that Powell should have been cutting even longer ago. I mean, obviously we already thought he should have been for a while, but even going back further and further, and that there was fudging of numbers towards the end of the Biden administration, which, I mean, it's a politician. I'm sure there probably was, but
Sure.
so there's even that. So that could even maybe add more to your point that maybe there is a higher likelihood this could be 50. And I agree with you. I don't think 50 is priced in. I definitely don't.
I don't either. And I think that could be very, like I said, I think that could be reactionary. I do think that 25 is priced in. And I think within the next week, what was the date of the meeting? Did you say it was the 20?
It should be next. No, it's next week. It's
17th?
It's usually on Wednesday, so it's probably the 17th. Yeah.
Okay. So I think within the next week, you'll see a nice little run up with the 25 points being priced in. Again, if it goes to 50, which it probably should, I think you will see further additional pump coming off of that as well.
I think so too. I think that's the only thing that would make it not a sell the news event. And when I say sell the news, I don't mean like Bitcoin's going to go to 100K or something. I just mean
right.
A little bit of a sell off for a couple days, and then we probably still consolidate and go up more later or something like that. But
yeah, and Bitfinesse, I'm not sure, man. I still don't think retail is quite here. I think we're getting close. I would love to see that, but the sideways pattern just doesn't really show it quite yet. I think we're getting close, but I don't see it quite yet.
And I am with you. That Ethereum chart price action, anybody that is still bearish on Ethereum right now is blind. I mean, I just don't know what else to say at this point. Like, be happy with the Bitcoin dominance you've had so far. Be happy that Bitcoin has just destroyed and melted phases this entire cycle. Be happy about all of what you've gotten, okay?
Yep.
But at this point, us people who have been suffering down here waiting for this to break out, that bull flag on Ethereum is very evident. It is extremely bullish looking.
Sure is. And I agree with Brownies here. I mean, this is, I think we're getting to that point too. This is like a last call. Get your tickets ready and get on the train, or you're going to probably get left behind. It's going to happen here sooner or later, and I think sooner is in the cards for us. So,
full disclaimer, we've been saying this for 3 years, but
well,
no, I'm just kidding. But I'm with you, Brownies. Yeah, there's more evidence than ever to feel this way. I do agree with you. Yeah, it's looked good. And I guess finally, I mean, we've been harping on this every week, so we don't have to get into it too much. But as far as timeline, what are you still thinking here? I mean, do you still think the final top for both Bitcoin, ETH, and alts is all by the end of the year, and we begin a descent by sometime in December? Do you think we spill into 2026? Because I think with where I am right now, I'm still pretty firmly in. I really like the thesis of the repeat of that 2017, 2018 cycle. It just seems the most likely with what we've seen. And I think we probably see Ethereum top next year very early. What do you
I think so too, but I really think it's going to depend on when it really takes off. You know, and then we give it 6 or 8 weeks to give it what it needs to do to get to that blow off top place. And then we can kind of determine it. But, again, it's all a matter of the takeoff. It really is going to depend on when that happens before we can really say, because historically, the cycles have never really fallen on the same month, the tops anyway. It's always been a little bit different. So it's just so really hard to say. And you have to kind of estimate when it takes off. When it takes off, then you give it, say, 6-8 weeks. Could it be more this time because of the, institutional money? Possibly. Could go 8 or 9 weeks, maybe 10 weeks. But, it's usually within a month of that. You get a good 2-month run, and it's usually, a couple weeks, give or take a little bit. So
Right.
I think we just have to wait for that takeoff to be able to determine how long it's going to go and see how actually hard that it really runs.
Yeah. Yep, I am with you, but things certainly looking extremely bullish for Ethereum. And again, both of them, Bitcoin and Ethereum, holding up really well with this bad jobs report last week. So